Hello, my name is Michael Nowak. Today I'm going to be talking about the case Building Ethical Supply Chains, the case of H&M in China. So basically, this case is about how a global brand like H&M tries to stay ethical while operating in different parts of the world, especially in places where there are concerns about labor practices. In this situation, H&M decided to stop sourcing cotton from the Xinjiang region in China because of concerns about forced labor, and that decision ended up causing a huge backlash. What happened was, after they made that statement, they started getting boycotted in China. Their products were removed from major online platforms, people stopped supporting the brand, and it basically turned into a political and economic issue really fast. The problem is that China is a massive market for H&M, so losing that kind of access can seriously hurt the company financially. So this situation really comes down to the conflict between doing what's ethically right versus staying competitive in a global market. H&M is trying to protect its brand and values, but at the same time that decision is costing them business in a really important region. There are a few different problems going on here. On the surface, they're dealing with losing customers and revenue in China, but underneath that, the bigger issue is that it's extremely difficult to fully control and monitor an ethical supply chain when you're operating globally. There are so many layers, different suppliers, different regulations, and sometimes not a lot of transparency. Long term, this can affect how people see the brand. If H&M ignores ethical concerns, they could lose trust from customers in other parts of the world. But if they take a strong stance like they did here, they risk losing entire markets. So they're kind of stuck in the middle, trying to balance both sides. Looking at what they could do differently, there are a few options. One option is to stay consistent and keep strict ethical standards no matter what. That would help them build long-term trust and show that they stand by their values, but it also means that they might lose access to markets like China. Another option would be to adjust how they communicate depending on the region. They could help them stay in certain markets. That could help them stay in certain markets, but it could also make them look inconsistent or fake if people notice the difference. Third option is to invest more into supply chain transparency, like using technology and digital tools to track where materials are coming from and how workers are treated. This is probably the most balanced approach, and it takes time and money to fully implement. When making decisions like this, companies have to think more than just profit. They have to think about their reputation, how customers see them, and what kind of brand they want to be long term. There's also risk for both sides, whether it's losing customers for being unethical or losing markets for taking a stance. Going forward, I think H&M should stick to a consistent ethical standard across all regions, even if it's difficult in the short term. At the same time, they should invest more into monitoring their supply chain using digital tools and third-party verification so they actually know what's happening at every level. They can also use AI and predictive analytics to better understand demand, which helps avoid overproduction, which is a big issue in fast fashion. This not only makes the business more efficient, but it also is more sustainable overall. At the end of the day, companies like H&M have to focus on long-term trust. It might cost them in the short term, but building a strong and ethical brand is what's going to keep them relevant in the future. Thank you so much. Have a great day.